Do you see the red dot?
Yeah. Mike!
Here we go.
Mike, please don't go. Watch, I'm gonna fall through the other side. He's gonna jump.
Santamo flip. Santamo flip.
Cowabunga! Holy shit. It's real Mike in.
And we are back. That's right. It's the Big Mike Radio program for the third week of January. Filling in as a special guest host for JB King is Mr. Pete Paese. Pete?
Yes, I'm here. First time.
Are you a little sleepy? Is today...
we're sleepy every day where I come from.
Now, if you have to stay in studio tonight, because I'm hunkered down in studio. We're staying in studio. I'm
staying here.
If you stay, you're going to have a great night's sleep.
Yes. Yes, I will. There will be no young children screaming
right.
and fidgeting.
Or I might wake up at 4 a.m. to change me.
Well,
So
there's an axe in the room, too, which makes me a little worried.
There's always an axe in the room. And I got Shinerbach beer, too, and some coffee Corona. Yeah, it'll be wild. So anyway, we have a very special guest on the line here. Please welcome, big round of applause. Joining us from the Sunshine State, it is number 86 of the New York Football Giants, wide receiver, Ron Dixon. Now, Ron Dixon, those of you who would know, he still holds the record for the most kickoff returns for a touchdown in a single postseason. He opened up the New York, the divisional game versus the Eagles in 2000, versus running the kickback, which made me faint. And then I wrote the story about it in the book. And then he also ran back a kick in the Super Bowl. Then I don't remember how that Super Bowl ended, though. I think didn't they call that on account of darkness or something?
Account of rain.
Count of rain. Okay. So what I wanted to do, because listen, you can't be a media outlet. And I'm not saying that Vineland Media is a media outlet and we're doing a podcast, but you can't be in New York City, in the host town of the Super Bowl the week before the Super Bowl and not do a show about the Super Bowl. So,
right.
A lot of people who listen and tune in, all four of them, they probably know the backstory between you and I. So if you want to learn more about that, please just send me an email. But give me the impression. So now you've been out of the game for just about a decade now, it seems.
Right.
How vivid are those?
Actually.
How vivid are those memories related to the Super Bowl in 2000 when you went to the Super Bowl? How vivid are the recollections?
Listen, man, I can still hear people breathing. I can still. I have dreams, and it's just like it happened yesterday. Those are memories I'll never forget, and it's going to be something I replay in my mind all the time, and that people always bring up. So it's hard to get away from them.
Now, what are the players going through right now? Obviously, being outside the sport, we would think that the players are, chomping at the bit, excited. They just want to get to the game and determine who's the champion and who's not. Is that an accurate take from somebody who's never played the sport, or is something else going through those players' minds?
Well, yeah, kind of, but right now they're really going through the realization that wow, we actually are playing in the Super Bowl. Like that has to sink in, and that takes time. You watch the Super Bowl since you were a child and dreamed of one day playing in the Super Bowl, but then you go to that realization of trying to digest that whole moment of, like, we actually are going to be in the Super Bowl. Getting past that is a task in itself. So now, everybody is probably calling and they getting excited about it. Everybody's trying to pack and get a few practices in before they have to travel. And I'm sure a lot of family members are starting to call and want Super Bowl tickets. So players are starting to get those calls now. So it's really when family, started to be more of a problem.
Now, did you go through that when you win the championship game 41-0 versus the Vikings? What happened? Did your phone start ringing off the hook? Did you get requests for tickets? People coming out of the woodwork?
That kind of happened, but I kind of delegated that process to my parents. So I didn't really have that problem.
Gotcha.
But when we won the NFC Championship, I'm like, what just happened? You know,
We felt the same thing.
We were staring, trying to figure out how that happened so quickly.
Yeah, because we were there.
It's crazy. It's a crazy feeling. Like from that point, like a year prior to that, I was at NAIA school where, you know, we maybe had 200 people in the stands, and now this next game I'm about to play in front of maybe close to 200 countries.
Yeah.
You know, it's wild.
Yeah. Now, aside from the game, and we all know that, you know, you're the only person who scored points for the Giants in that Super Bowl. You ran back a kickoff for a touchdown, which has to be one of the most exciting plays in all of football.
And there was a write-up in the Daily News about that yesterday because they're going through every Super Bowl.
Oh,
and
wow.
they were up to that Super Bowl yesterday, and it had Ron Dixon said. Ron Dixon ran the 97-yard touchdown back.
Wow.
And it was the lone bright spot for the Giants.
We'll try and get a copy of that for you and send it down to you. But so aside from that moment, obviously that had to be such an amazing feeling. What was the best part of being in the Super Bowl as a player? Like aside from the game?
For me, it was before the game even started.
Mm-hmm.
You know, knowing my journey that it took me to get to the NFL with, you know, me kind of sidelining myself, you know, with school and things like that, and to get back in school and go to a little small NAIA school, then get drafted and play with the Giants, and, you know, for my family, have to go through all of my bad decision making to see them in the stands right there before the game. Like, I didn't even have to play the game. You know, that was the best moment. That was the special moment for me.
Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts
now,
on
the Super
oh, sorry.
Kickoff return back was the second this moment. So yeah.
Can you repeat that? You cut out a little bit.
I say, and the running the you know,
Getting the touchdown.
Kickback.
Yeah.
You know, that was a distant second.
Gotcha. Now, what are your thoughts on the fact that the Super Bowl is up in New York? I mean, we got a huge snowstorm today. Mike Francesa had officials from the NFL on today talking about contingency plans. As a player, did you care where the Super Bowl was? Do you care about the conditions, or do you think it's a good idea or a bad idea?
Well, you know, me personally, I mean, I love New York. I think, you know, just with everything that New York could provide would make a great venue for the Super Bowl is just the weather, you know, during this time. And during this time, you know, in this last game, you don't want the weather to really be a factor that plays against a team or both teams, you know. So it's my only problem with it being in New Jersey / New York is because of the weather. So my thing is, let's keep it in a dome. Let's keep it, you know, a place like San Diego or Florida. You know, and even sometime in Florida it rains. It rained that one time when Peyton.
Right before 41.
You know, so,
Super Bowl 41.
I just hate when the elements come into play.
Gotcha. Now, do you think that when you were in the Super Bowl, they have this thing here in Times Square called Super Bowl Boulevard, which I'm not sure. I guess they would do that every year. I don't know when they started it, but they have the whole NFL experience. Now, have you ever attended any of those, either before or after you were in the league, or, you know, have you been asked to be a part of any of that?
No, actually, I haven't. I haven't been to a